Hello and welcome to the video. Today we are making skirts, and by today I mean over the past 3 weeks I have been working on these maxi skirts. So if you are interested in seeing how I make these, stay tuned. I'm struggling to keep my eyes open because this table is just reflecting the sunlight. So today's plan is to make some maxi skirts. So I've made a few in the past for my brand to sell at markets, and also a few for myself for my wardrobe. I do them in some really fun, bright, colourful cottons that I've got recently. And by recently I mean like almost 2.5 months ago, but anyway. Yeah, so we're gonna work on those today and cut some fabric outside in this beautiful sun, and then go back into the dark sewing room and sew them up. So I'll go grab that fabric. Check this out. Got some beautiful gingham, some more check fabric in this really nice textured cotton, which I've actually worked with before. Some bigger gingham and these really interesting like seersuckery gingham, just a scrap piece. I always find it so good to go through at your local fabric store, try and find those really old remnants, because usually they'll give you a little bit of a discount if you get like the scrappy bits, but that's still quite a decent piece of fabric. So can you tell I have a preferred pattern? Oh, the sun is so nice. So this is a basic rundown of how I make maxi skirts and any kind of tiered fabric in general. So I always work on the formula of you have one length, and then the next layer is 1.5 times your first layer, and then your next layer is 1.5 times your middle layer. So essentially you're increasing it by 1.5 each time. So for example, I usually do my top tier is 1.2 meters. So I'll do that in 2 parts. Was that a bug? I'll do that in 2 parts, each part being 60 centimeters. So my next part, I'm just going to add another 60 centimeter strip. So that'll give me 1.8. And then on my last tier, I do 2.4 meters, adding an extra adding an extra 60 centimeter strip. So in total, I'm going to have 9 strips of 60 centimeters. Now the heights are variable. I usually do about 30 centimeters, and that's allowing for a centimeter for the seam on top, and then to do a little mini hem on the bottom. We're going to do an elasticated waist and a drawstring waist. The sizing is going to be very adjustable as well, and we're going to have a lot of movement and room obviously in our tiers because we are flaring it out. So the cool thing about this project is that you do not need to have 100% precise measurements. What we're focusing on is making sure that we have one tier, a second tier that's slightly bigger, and a third tier that's even bigger. So if some of your tiers are a little bit off, or you didn't quite hit the 60 centimeter strips or whatever kind of measurement you're working with, do not worry. The end result will still look good. All we're looking for is to have that nice flared shape with lots of gathering at each seam, joining the tier. Probably should have ironed, but I'm probably not going to. So we've got all of our cut fabric strips. Now the plan is to cut all these strips in half because they're all quite long at the moment. And we're outside again, but I don't know if the weather is going to stay kind. So we'll work as quick as we can and get these all cut. I don't know if this one's just gonna play fair. It's too windy out here. I have to move inside. Okay, so now we have all of our cut strips, and my goodness, there are so many. So every little bundle has 2 strips in it, and each skirt needs 7. So I think I'm going to be making more than 4 skirts, which is great. Our next challenge is now pairing colors together. So what do we want our skirts to look like? I definitely know I want to make one with these beautiful textured fabrics in the pink and green. I also really want to do like an all green skirt, so with all the greens I have. I think that'll be fun. I also really want to make one with the purple and the pink and orange gingham because it reminds me of Polly Pocket, and I think that'll just be super cute. Continuing on the gingham, I think as well I'm going to do a yellow, purple, orange. That again just reminds me of like summer. So for the maxi skirts, I need 2 for the top tier, 3 for the middle, and 4 for the final. So that's a total of, 9. I kept saying 7. 9. It's 9 strips total. My bad. I cannot count. So 9 strips. So yeah, I still think I could probably make at least 5 skirts from this pile of fabric. But yeah, let's start pairing them up and see what we've got. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoops, 7, 8, 9. Oh my gosh, 9 skirts total, which just is insane. I am so happy with that. So if we pop our skirts over here, and then I have this pile of leftover bits. So most of these will be good for making drawstrings and things. This is great for waistbands, and with those other leftover strips I can make waistbands as well. So I think we're sitting in a pretty good position that I have sufficient materials to make all 9 skirts. The skirts are cut and pinned together. I still have 3 left that I need to do, but I ran out of pins. But yes, this is where we're going to wrap up for today because it's getting late and I want to go inside. So I've left about 1 centimeter on that edge there, and so if you don't have a serger, you can easily do just a rolled seam. You could even do a French seam where we'll tuck in one side and roll it over like that and seam it flat. So this is my brand new sewing bench that my partner built for me, and fun fact, it's actually built out of my old bed's headboard from the timber from that. So he's managed to reuse it and construct it into a perfect little tiny sewing bench for my serger and my old sewing machine. The plan this morning is to start cutting out all the pockets for the skirts. Now I need 36 pockets total because it's 4 pockets for skirts because we need 2 sides for each pocket. So this is the plan of attack. I'm hoping I have enough of each fabric to match each skirt type, but we will see. Good morning, welcome back to the camper. Now, I think where I left off yesterday, I was alluding to potentially not having enough fabric to finish all of the skirts, and that has become a reality. So I've got 5 skirts here that now have the waistbands and the pockets ready to sew, but that left me with 4 skirts that were not complete, unfortunately. So what that means for our sewing journey is that I had to sacrifice one of the skirts to be able to complete the other 3. So with that sacrifice, it has actually turned into a happy ending because I don't have to head into town now to buy more fabric. So that's a win-win. So yes, I'm going to take that skirt apart. I've used the bottom tier, which has the 4 strips in it, and that's going to be sufficient for the pockets and waistbands for the remaining skirts. Remaining skirts. And yeah, I'm going to start tearing apart my serge seams and get that all ready to go, and then when I see you next, we'll start sewing. I did a bit of sewing yesterday on Sunday, and I wasn't very good at recording any of it. So I'm going to make up for that today. I'm going to go a bit more in depth on how I'm doing the pockets and the gathering for each skirt tier, as well as attaching the waistband, making the drawstrings, inserting the elastic, and essentially completing the whole skirt. So I'm hoping I can get maybe 1 or 2 skirts completed today. I'll just show you what I've worked on so far. Where can I put you? Perfect. So I've attached the pockets and attached like each side to each other. So if we turn that right ways out, we have got a nice little inseam pocket. I'm going to do some little bar tack stitching on the top and bottom just to reinforce the pocket. It's ready for the waistband attachment. But before I attach the waistband, which is this one here, I want to reinforce the fabric with some interfacing, which, oh, I'm hoping I have. I've just messed it all up and I need to fold it again. Make it look nice and pretty. Okay, so we'll just unravel our bundle and see what we're working with. What we're up to now, we need to, let's just work on one. So we've serged our pockets and our pockets are just pinned in place at the moment. We're going to attach the pockets to our main fabric with right sides facing, and we're going to leave about a centimetre seam allowance, because again, after we've done our simple straight stitch, we're going to serge that seam together. After we've completed that, we'll then attach them face to face with our mirrored image skirt and pocket material for the back. So it'll look like that. Oh my gosh. I always find it so therapeutic threading your sewing machine, setting yourself up to get going. So I've left 3 centimeters as my allowance at the top. I know I'm going to lose about a centimeter of that for when I attach my waistband. Right sides together, right sides facing each other. We are simply going to match up our pocket, and you're going to use a lot of pins for this step. As much as you need to. Alrighty, so we are finally up to the stage where we're going to start attaching the tiers to each other. So you'll notice that our seam for joining our tiers is actually on the outside. That's because when I like to make my maxi skirts, I like having a little bit of texture and a bit of intrigue on the skirts themselves. So yeah, we do all our seams attaching the tiers together on the outside. We're attaching these with wrong side facing because we want that seam facing out for our textured ruffly finish. So we'll get that seam and match it to our pinned fold, and we'll put a pin there. And that's just like a nice visual reminder of, okay, when I start doing my cinching and gathering, that's sort of my stopping point. I don't want one side to be super cinched in and then I don't have enough fabric to cinch in the other side and it looks a little wonky. This looks very confusing, I know, but when you're working with a lot of fabric like this, you need some room. So I'm going to do the rest of this on the floor because I've got a little bit more room down there. And yeah, and then we'll just start gathering, pinning and sewing. This is the step of joining our 2 tiers together. Now you can see I've already sewn it together. And I've sewn it together with wrong sides facing. So our seam is actually on the outside of the skirt, which is usually the opposite of what you want. I've now just ironed that flat. I'm going to fold this flat seam compared to the ruched or gathered seam. I'm just going to fold that in half. So now like the edge of that fabric is now in the center of our seam. I'm going to fold that over it and cover it. So fold over, and where is my petal? So can you hear the cockatoos? It's like that screaming sound. Ah, such a pleasant bird to listen to. I am incredibly pleased with how these have turned out. I just think they look so pretty and summery, and they're like pastel sorbet, just happiness. I'm very much pleased with them. I do have a favorite. I know you shouldn't pick your favorites, but the one that is just the purple and that orange and pink gingham. If you would like to make a maxi skirt all of your own, here are the steps. Decide on your desired skirt length and divide by 3. Also, plan for your waistband being at least 14 centimeters high. Pick your fabrics. I like lots of colors and textures. Next, cut 9 strips of fabric at least 60 centimeters long and whatever height you've decided on. Also cut your waistband. Next, we're going to cut our 4 pockets because you'll need 2 for each side of your skirt, and then we're going to sew and serge your middle and bottom tiers separately. This will create 2 big loops of fabric. We're going to sew 2 lines of stitches at the top of each tier. This allows us to be able to gather our fabric evenly and lay flat. Then we'll pin and sew the middle and bottom tiers together. Finish your outer seam by folding one side in half and folding it over. Now you have half a skirt. Attach pockets to your top tier, sewing the mirrored sides together. For the waistband, iron on interfacing to reinforce eyelets. Attach your waistband to your first tier, so equal width channels for the elastic and drawstring. Also attach skirt lining and close waistband. So yes, that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you feel like liking, please do so. Subscribing if you feel like it. And chucking a comment down below if you so please. Bye!